Welcome to Impact 2022. This is our continuing conversation where we talk about different issues. We talk about current events. We talk about racial issues. We talk about religious issues. We talk about whatever is in the news. We talk about whatever is pertinent. This is our continuing conversation where we have an opportunity to talk and to talk things out, come to some conclusions, and talk to them from different perspectives. And so, as always, if you've been here before with Impact 2022, please type your questions and your comments into the comment section. And so, as this is a continuing conversation does not go one way. So if you type in a comment or you type in a question, it will be addressed, pulled up on the screen, and we'll address it as it comes up. And as always, we hop right into the discussion. No guests again this week. We have guests from time to time. This week we do not. But we still encourage you to put in your comments into the comment section. And so quickly, let's go into it. For those of you, last week we spoke on some issues that were going on when it comes to food and how there's some racial disparities there. This next issue that I'm going to talk about is basically a story, a real life story that happened to a close friend of mine. A close friend of mine had a legal issue. And in this legal issue, what happened was they had some fines, some small fines that occurred over a decade ago. Fines that total about $13. And these fines, what happened was that they got sent to a lawyer and charged off, as they call it. They sent to the lawyer. And the fine went from $13 to over $4,000. $13 to over $4,000. And so then the court system assessed the fines, and then eventually what they wanted to do was to garnish wages for $4,000 from this person's job. And so that is it. That's the story. And so now we're going to peel back a little bit of the layers of this story and talk about it a little further. Happy ending is that the fine and the total amount did not have to be paid because of some other stuff. But let's go into it. All right. You have $13 that then ends up blowing up. And you're like, well, I wonder, how does it go? You have $13 and you snap on a $100 fine for non-payment. Then you send it off to the lawyer and you allow a lawyer to assess fees and fines and interest on something that they never owned and they never put any work into. And then finally they get to take it before the judge and take it before the court. And they can ask the judge to force you to pay through garnishment of wages. And if you show up, you can defend yourself. If you do not, usually it's summary judgment against you. And now your job is forced to pull a portion out of your paycheck and provide that to the law firm, who then keeps the overwhelming majority of it because they keep all the fines and administration fees, and then sends off the amount or a portion of the amount to the original debtor. And so in this scenario, it was totals. It's $13 in fines. It was $13 in totals that then were turned into the fines. Now that's ridiculous. Let's be clear. Under any circumstances, that's ridiculous. There is no person I would believe that could truly sit here and say that it is fair, equitable, or makes sense for $13 to turn into over $4,000. That means that you have over 10,000% increase. And you're fining someone for that. There is no job that I know that you're going to get a 10,000% increase. There is no investment that I know. There is no gambling bet that I know that you can make. The biggest, if you know gambling, the biggest wager and parlay that you could ever put together could never hit 10,000% increase. Yet a lawyer who has done nothing other than put together some paperwork that probably took them less than an hour can then walk in and say, let's have a 10,000% increase. And so I look at it. It's all legal. Everything's fair. Everything's on the up and up. And that's what all of the participants in this would say. And so the toll people, all the way down to the judge, I blame all of them, and I put them in low regard. Let's start with the judge. The judge will sit here and say, well, this is legal to make you pay a 10,000% increase, to pay $4,000 for a $13 fine. It's legal. It's what the law says. I am here as a judge to uphold the law. However, you don't have to allow a 10,000% increase. You don't have to allow. Yes, it's legal that you can allow it, but you don't have to allow that to go through. You can come back and say that is excessive. The law firm, well, that's legal. That's what I'm allowed to do, and I need to make a living for my family. You don't have to be that immoral of a person that you're going to put that type of burden on someone, not knowing their situation. And even if you did know their situation, you know that you did not do 10,000% increase amount of work in this situation. So you do not have to charge fees that you know are ridiculous. But then you look at the locale, the toll people or the local government. You don't have to deal with a law firm who you know are going to abuse your citizens or the people who use your services in that manner. You know that the law firm is putting down these exorbitant fees, $3,000 on 13 bucks. You are not good for doing your part as far as taking a blind eye towards what's going on and towards the fees that are being put on your citizenry or the people who use your services. But yet all these people will sit back and say, well, this is legal, this is legal, this is legal. But at what point do you have to decide between what is legal and what is right? And so this is a Christian program. In a sense that we look at this from a religious perspective, and as a Christian, I look at it from a Christian perspective. At what point is our responsibility then to our faith over our job, to our faith over what is allowable, but we have discretion over? So I look at that judge, and if that judge claims to be whatever, or go to church, or claims to be a moral person, or somebody who cares about others, I would have to call bull on that. I would have to say that you are living out a false story. Because under no circumstances could you sit here and think that it was okay to charge somebody that amount of money and to allow that type of thing to happen in your courtroom. Again, legally, it is 100% okay, but you don't have to allow that. You have discretion when it comes to that. They can charge $3,000. They can charge 10,000%, but they could also charge 10%. They could also charge just even 100%. As the lawyer, yes, you want to make all the money you can make. You are legally allowed to do what you do as far as racking up these huge fees for work that you know you haven't done anything special. You may go to church. You may think that you're a good person. You may have a nice belief system. You may think that you're a Christian. But I don't know how you will be able to say that, knowing that you are abusing people. The power that you have been granted and given that you're using to abuse people in such a manner where you're taking their money that you don't know what they have to do with. And even if you did know what they have to do with it, you have no real right to it, in the sense of that is greedy, that is selfish, and that is abusive. And you're doing that, and you're choosing to do that. But then, like many people do, oh, I'm a good person, or, I care about the community. I gave some money to such and such organization last week. You're not a good person. And then to the government organizations, or even local businesses, when you have to get debt, because many people from time to time can't pay or won't pay, and you have to take them to court. But what you don't have to do is deal with unscrupulous lawyers and unscrupulous law firms who are going to charge people large, exorbitant amounts. And it is your responsibility that if anybody's going to represent you or represent the debt that you are trying to collect, that you make sure that they're not abusive and immoral and greedy and selfish with the things that they do. And now I'm being very, very descriptive with these words, but I want to be clear that these are all of the things that all of these participants are falling into the case of. But it's their job. The law allows it. And so the question is for us. The question is for myself. When I look at what I do on a daily basis, when I look at what the law allows and what the law doesn't allow, whose law are we supposed to be following? At what point are you no longer being a Christian or following the Christian way to live your life, following Christ, when you are allowing such abuses to happen, when you are participating in such abuses to happen, when you are part of a law firm that does such abusive stuff, when you are a judge or somebody in that system who just sits by and allows such abuses to happen, when you employ people as the locale does, where you allow them to abuse people. I tell this story, and I've constantly told this story, and I will tell this story, I guess, until the day that I die or forget it. There was a guy named Sandusky. He was, for many of you who may remember, a couple of years back, a long time ago now, there was a Penn State scandal where there was one of the football coaches or coaches associated with the football team who was abusing young men, sexually abusing young men. And the story goes that one of the men who testified against him in the trial, so he went to trial and went to court, one of the young men who testified against him said that what Sandusky would do is to bring the boys to his home, and he would take them downstairs to his basement. And the little boy said, or he was a man at this time, but he said that what happened to him was he was being abused and he would scream and yell at the top of his voice, and he could hear Sandusky's wife upstairs walking around. And he knew for a fact that she heard everything that was going on, yet she did nothing. And as sick as Sandusky was for what he did to these young boys, I always say that his wife is worse and deserved worse punishment, because he, Sandusky, may have been sick in the head, as we say, or emotionally scarred, or something could have been wrong with him. But you, as a bystander, you as somebody who can stop it, you sit back in your clear mind and you allow this sick person to do what they do. You're an enabler. And I always say that person is absolutely worse. Absolutely worse. So his wife, let it go on because, my husband is bringing home the paychecks and he got a very good job, or whatever reason that she may have. That is the same thing that same responsibility that we have as individuals who call themselves moral, or individuals who call themselves good people, or individuals who call themselves Christians. We can't sit back and let the system be bad because it's legal, or let our job be bad because it's bringing us home paychecks, or our activities be bad, and think that it's okay. We are enabling the bad to happen, the bad to occur. And so we got a great comment here, and it is expose them. And true. And that's what it needs to be. We have to put light in on these situations. You can't just sit back and let things happen. But as people who call themselves Christians, and people who call themselves moral, as people who want to think that we do good things, not that we're perfect and not that we're all great and everything like that, we cannot sit back and allow our jobs, we cannot sit back and allow the law to let us do bad things. And so that's, as much as we have some long discussions sometimes, that's it. That's it. And just as the system failed my friend, and again, this was a success story because did not have to pay $3,000 on a $13 fine. But just as the system has failed my friend, the system continuously fails people all along the way in a lot more serious situations. And it's because people let bad happen. There's a bad law and you're a part of the legal system. Don't think that that's your job to keep that badness going. If there's a bad rule and we are at a job or a place, it's not our job to keep the bad going. It's our job to be who we are. So if we're going to be good, if we're going to be Christian, we need to do what that is first, and then do your job second. That's easier said than done. I know that, and I'm not going to sit here and act like, I do that all the time and perfectly. But looking at this story that popped up, looking at how our society is right now, looking at how many people have decided that, because I like this person, this leader, or I like this business, I like whatever, I'm going to allow the bad to go on. And so many of us have decided that we're going to put our likes first, or our money first, or our job first, or whatever first, and put our character and our Christianity second. And so I ask us all, let's all take looks at what we do. Look at the things that we do, and look at the organizations and things that we're a part of, and the people that we follow, and what we do on a daily basis, and make sure that we're not doing wrong because it's legal or because it's the rule, that we're doing what we're supposed to do. And as the comment was, and I think that was very, very powerful and very telling, I think it's an obligation that we have to expose them. In a sense of, they may not, honestly, you may not know. As a lawyer sitting here and they're racking up all this money and saying, "Oh, it's a $13 fine. I'm a great lawyer. I turned $13 into $3,000, and it ended up being a total fine of $4,000." Maybe you need to sit to the side and be like, "Hey, man, you're horrible. You're doing something horrible, and you need to try to think about the people that you're hurting and harming." Maybe they don't know. Maybe I'm being naive, but maybe they don't know. And so I think we should expose them and give them an opportunity to change their ways. All right, that is it. That was a very quick one. Sometimes we have some long developing conversations, and sometimes we get right to the point. So I thank everyone who participated tonight. Thank the comments that came in. Again, this is Impact 2022. We are here every week, 8 o'clock. This is our continuing conversation where we talk about all the issues that come up. And if anybody has any issues or anything that they want to talk about, please feel free to either put them in the chat or give us a call. Contact us here at Informational Christian Ministries. Again, we'll be here on Thursday as well, Thursday Thirst, at 7 o'clock, same place. Thank you for everything. Thank you for participating. Please come join us again, and have a good night.